So Women Wellness and Wealth is a community built by Soaring Finances, Services and Solution, which is my business. Our tag for social media is at W3 Empowerment. And there you see how you can get a hold of me if you have any questions relative to the event, or any questions relative to women, wellness, and wealth, or finances, whatever it might be. So the reason I created this community was to empower women. Our main purpose is to bring awareness. I bring financial awareness, but the idea is to have different experts join me in bringing awareness in their area of expertise. Hence how this whole event sort of came together. So we help, or we aim to help women break through barriers and leading to glass ceilings being shattered, which is ultimately what we want. I mentioned that I focus on financial wellness, and that is what actually started this whole thing. I can only speak to my area of expertise, and then I partner with others that that know their area, their industry, and still bring wellness towards women. So having said that, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to remind everybody that we have a passport to win. This is for our grand prizes at the very end of the event. That would be Saturday. Make sure you print that one off or keep track of your events, and then you're going to send that over to us, and you will be entered into we have 4 grand prizes. Actually, Tara is somebody that has donated a grand prize, and I'm sure that she can talk to it a bit more than I can. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Tara, and she's going to introduce herself and what she does, and then present.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen as well, but I wanted to, yes, my name is Tara Watson, and thank you very much, Adriana, for inviting me to participate in this wonderful, cause that you've got basically going, where we're talking about women's empowerment, and essentially we're just trying to create an equal situation for all, right, across the entire world, just equality for all. And I think this is just a wonderful movement that's continuing to happen throughout the entire week. I think one day is just a little insufficient, so an entire week devoted to it, I think, is just apropos. So my name is Tara Watson again. I am I'm a full-time real estate agent. I'm also a productivity coach, which is for real estate agents that are new to becoming real estate agents, helping them to establish their career in the business. And I'm also an elite social marketer with a health and wellness company. So I have a little bit of diversification in what I do. I'm a continually busy person. I enjoy being busy. And so one thing just wasn't enough for me, and I did expand to quite a few endeavors over time. But I did start just like everybody else seems to, and that was with a salary job. So I moved from being a franchise development manager for 13 years into becoming an entrepreneur. And I'm just going to go through some of the steps that I'm going to recommend to everyone that they should at least hopefully take pause and think about these things as you're deciding whether or not this is something for you, because obviously it's not a one-stop, it's not for everyone, but you know, every so often we get that curiosity. And if you're watching this, then you probably are that person that has curiosity as to whether or not it's for them. So step one is the dream, right? So step one, you are in that position where you're just thinking, you're sitting in your office, or maybe you're working in a factory, or you're working in a restaurant, you're working in a place where you're just wondering, is this it, right? Is this the place that I'm supposed to be? And is there something more, right? You're in that kind of dream phase of, you know, like maybe I'm bored where I am. Maybe I've grown as much as I possibly can in this position. And, or maybe you're just tired of asking for a raise and being dependent on whether or not somebody says yes, if it's in the budget, which is what I used to get a lot. So I was in a position for quite some time, and I had to depend on somebody else telling me how much I was going to make every single year. And over time, as I was continuing to hear the excuses of it's not really in the budget, and I worked for a fantastic company. I worked for a really great company. There was a lot of rapport. There was a lot of positive exchange. But when it came to me feeling like I was being paid for my worth, they had a cap as to what they felt that was. And I just felt like there's got to be something else that I can do for me that basically raises that cap. So I got into that dream state of, like, what exactly is it that I want to do? And I started venturing into the ideas of, is there something that I could do that was similar to what I was doing right now? And I was in franchise sales. So I gravitated towards real estate because I thought, well, maybe if I got a real estate license, then that would be something that would be a little bit more appealing. And the idea of now getting a real estate license, well, what else could that entail? Is there something else that it could lead to? So number 2 is doing research, right? Finding out exactly what is it that you're wanting to do and what's involved in what you actually want to do. Do you really want to do this, right? Like, find out what education is required. Do you have to take courses? Do you have to go back to university? Right? Is it something that you're going to have to invest a lot of money or time into, right? Do your research as to, are there a lot of people that are successful that are going to go into this field? Or is it a very challenging, difficult field? But do your research, right? There's this wonderful thing that's called Google University, right? You can find out everything you possibly want to know about anything on Google. So I would say just start there. Start reading articles, start reading blogs, and start doing full research as to whether or not what you're going to venture into is going to be something that you could see yourself actually doing for a longer term. Because we want to make a differentiation between, is this a career I can see myself going into, or is this a hobby? Right? Is this a hobby, something that I just like to do on the side, which is fantastic as well. And we're hearing all about this gig economy, right? So everybody's got this little side gig that they've got going on. But is it something that you don't want to just be a side gig? Is it something that you want to be something that's full time that you can venture into, right? So start doing your research. The next step is you really got to plan. You got to plan it out. And a lot of people kind of skip over this, where they want to go to the high five. Everything's going great. Yes, we're going to have this great new adventure. It's going to be fantastic. But you really need to look at, like, can we afford this? If you're a part of a couple, is this something that your partner is going to be on board with? Is this something that they're going to support you in? What kind of hours is it going to require from you? Is your family participation going to be needed? If you're looking into a restaurant, if you're looking at opening your own restaurants, do you need your family to help you with the restaurant? Do you need your family to participate with you? And are they going to support you over time, right? Because you got to remember that this is not just something that you're doing on your own, but it's something that is going to need the help and support of other people. So you got to have these realistic conversations. Do you have enough money that when you do not make money in the first year of your business, that you can support yourself? So that's another big thing. I was working in franchise sales for 13 years, and there's a number of people that started a franchise, which is one of the safest small businesses to start. And they were struggling within the first 2 or 3 months because they hadn't properly planned that they need to reinvest all of the money that they're making back into the business. So there's a realistic plan for you to not make any money in the first year. So make sure that you have that reserve set aside so that you're not in any kind of panic state when you're actually in the full-time career. Okay, next thing is trial period. I believe fully that if you're going to expand into something new, you really need to figure it out by being in it, being submerged in it. So when I was looking at going into real estate, every single weekend, and this is in the non-COVID world, I would go to open houses. I would go to as many open houses as as I would be able to, I would talk to realtors in different open houses. I would ask them about their job. I would ask them what they liked, what they didn't like. Was there anything that they would recommend? What brokerages did they like? I would do a trial period of, this would be my job. So I'm going to go and I'm going to see different houses. I'm going to go to different places. My mother was a florist, so she owned her own flower shop. So before she bought her own flower shop, she went out and she got a job at a florist, right? She went out and she got a job at a florist. Now, maybe what you're going to be doing is you're going to be building your own business, and it's going to be all computerized, right? Maybe you're going to take your after hours after work and you're going to be spending hours and hours online building your business, maybe building up a pool of customers, seeing if it's something that they would like. Are you going to go into your own soap business, right? Are you able to accumulate customers? Or like I said, I was in franchise sales. Go get a job part-time in the kind of restaurant that you're looking to open, right? Really test the waters. See if this is something that you can see yourself doing on a day-to-day basis. And the best thing that you can possibly do is work a full-time job and then go work an additional 4 hours at this other job and really test yourself. Are you exhausted? Can you keep doing this? Is this something that you're getting joy out of? Is it something that you really want to do? Do you look forward to going to this job? And now that you're submerged in the job, is it everything that you expected it to be? Or is it different now that you're submerged in it? Because when you get submerged into a job, and I know some people that are looking at being their own wedding planners, they want to get their own business as a wedding planner, they'll go work for a wedding planner. And they will submerge themselves into the really tough part of the business. And I'll tell you, if you're going to open a restaurant, you need to be a server or you need to be working on a line, but you need to be in a heavy stress position in that restaurant because you want to see the worst of it. Because on your worst days, you want to know that you're still going to want to come back to the business the next day. Okay. And that's why I talk to a lot of realtors, because there was so many stories that you would hear about how wonderful realtors were doing. But until you are actually talking with other realtors, until you're actually talking with people that are in the front lines and tell them that you want to be a realtor, don't tell them that you're looking at buying a house. That's when you get the truth and the real stories of, no, I need to be every Saturday and every Sunday, I need to be in this house to build my client list. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in business. I wouldn't have the clients that I need to have a full-time salary, right? Or your own full-time income, right? So really go through that trial period of whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe you need to volunteer at a place, right? Just volunteer for somebody and say, you know what? I just want to see if this is the business that I want to do on my own. Do you mind if I come in and volunteer some of my hours? Because maybe they're not hiring. But really, really invest your time and effort to see whether or not it's something that you want to do. Because before you divulge all of your money and investment into it, you really need to decide if this is something that you're going to continue to do year after year after year. Because when you're going into entrepreneurship, this is not I'm just going to see if I like it and then step away. It is, no, we're going to move forward because things take time when you become an entrepreneur, and you really need to give yourself the time to have the full experience as to whether or not this is going to work. All right, so now that you've done that, you need to sit back and you need to reassess the whole situation. You need to find out, do I absolutely love it, right? And I go to the Spice Girls because I think about this all the time, right? Like, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. So now you've been in it, you've submersed yourself in it. Is this what you really want, right? Like when you were doing grueling hours, when you were staying up until midnight trying to put in customer orders, when you were trying to figure out the logistics of how the back office would look like, right? Like when you're doing the grueling work, were you still showing up with a smile on your face? Was it still something where you're like, yeah, I just want to do this full time. This is all I want to do. Like even on my worst days, I still really enjoy this and I gravitate towards it. It's something I'm naturally inclined to do, right? Are you going to regret it if you don't move forward with it? Is it something that you're going to be like, I wish I had done this instead of just walking away from it, right? Is it something that you're going to regret if you don't do it? And how is your family with you working all of these extra hours? Because I'll tell you right now, if you're working a full-time job and then you're putting in an extra 4 to 6 hours after that job is done, that's pretty realistic for what you're going to be doing when you launch yourself into entrepreneurship. It is very long hours, especially in the beginning, because you are trying to build up a business that is going to be sustained throughout many years. And you really do need to put a lot of hard work and full-time hours right off the bat. So you need to just reassess. If you're living with a spouse, if you have family members, ask them, like, so this is what it's going to be like over the next 4 years. How are you with it? Are we good? Is there anything that you need to speak about now? Like, just get those conversations out and on the table, because you do not want to have these conversations 3 months in to your new entrepreneurship position. Okay. Next up, making the leap. So this is where you're actually saying, you know what, all systems are go. I am going to give notice. I'm so happy. I'm running off to my new career. My biggest advice is absolutely 100% do not burn bridges. Always leave on good terms. Always leave on a very good note where everybody's celebrating you. Everybody is taking you out for dinner because they enjoyed your employment. They're wishing you well, right? Because these are all your potential future customers, right? You want people that are going to recommend you as somewhere to go or somebody to see, because of the kind of person that you are. So always make sure that you are leaving on a very good note, okay? And what happens if, for whatever reason, this doesn't work out and you now have to go back to a salary position? Have you burned that bridge so much that you couldn't go back to your old company and say, hey, you know what? I really do miss working here. I would love to be employed with you again, right? Are you able to reach back out and have that conversation? So you want to make sure that you're not burning any bridges, that you're keeping those relations up. And, your reputation is going to follow you, right? So whichever way you leave that company is how they feel that you're going to be reflective of your future customers as well, or your employees, right? How you treat others is how you end up being treated, is basically what I'm trying to say. This is a big one. Number 7, ask for help. There are so many people that just feel like they're an entrepreneur, so they got to do everything on their own, right? Like this is just like, I'm doing it myself. I'm a sole proprietor. I'm the one that made this decision. So I'm the one that's going to reap all of the, the benefits. I'm going to reap all of the burden as well. So I'm doing everything on my own. There is a reason that when you see people going up and they're giving these big acceptance speeches, is that they run out of time because they are thanking so many people that help them to get to where they are. It is the same when it comes to being an entrepreneur. You really need to tap into your support group and ask them for the help. Okay. So you need to ask your family to help out, right? You need to ask them, you need to step up and start helping out with the housework. You need to step up and you need to help out with making dinners, okay? Because my time and focus is shifted to something else. I need you to help pick up the pieces of what I used to do while I'm doing this, okay? You need to ask your friends and external family members for referrals. You need to ask them, do you have somebody that you know of that I could be assisting? If somebody wants to go to a restaurant, am I going to be the one that you're recommending, right? Ask for the help, because I'll tell you, if you've got a network of individuals and you're asking them to now extend to their own personal network, you're going to reach so many other potential customers for your business than you would if it was just you on your own. So if you are in a position where you're on your own, you got to really think about whether or not entrepreneurship is for you, because you have to get vulnerable, right? You have to understand that I need some guidance at times and I need some support. So you need to know that you've got people that you can reach out to. And I will absolutely say, make sure that you've got a mentor that is in your field that you are reaching out to as well. I'm a productivity coach for real estate agents. And the biggest concern that they have when they walk in is that they get their education, they start with a brokerage, and then they have no idea what to do, right? They're just basically saying like, I learned all the stuff, but I don't know what to do in the next step. So if you're going into a position where you've never done it before, who are you going to for guidance and support? That's why a lot of people choose franchises, quite honestly. A lot of people choose a franchise because then they can go to the franchisor and ask for the help that they need. That's, the systems are already in place, right? If they have issues with their employees, they can go to the franchisor and ask for assistance from the ops manager, right? And then they'll lend the support. But if you're doing something like opening your own restaurant, who do you have that you're going to now call out to for support? So make sure that you've got these people that are around you that you can ask for support. And if they're not in your immediate circle, there's a great thing out there called social media. Start reaching out and finding these people that can support you online as well. There are definitely groups throughout Facebook that you can go into, tap into, and join the groups and ask that group for support. There's a number of Facebook groups that I know personally for realtors, so that if they have any questions, they just drop questions into that group and they'll get a flood of information back. Okay, so make sure that you're utilizing all resources that you possibly can. Go to your family, go to your friends, go to your extended family, and go to your online community as well. Okay, now you're going to reach a moment when you're an entrepreneur where you're going to reach this moment of fight or flight, okay? Because there are times in business that you are going to basically be deciding, what path am I going to go on, right? I can either push through and persevere and know that this is all going to be worth it, or I'm going to take the road that goes, you know what, I tried, it didn't work, and so I'm done. It's over. I'm not doing it anymore. I've tried as much as I can. I'm not doing it. Or you're going to really understand that all businesses, they take time to really build up to the potential that they could be. And I mean, from my mother being a florist, to me being a real estate agent, to even doing the side gig thing where you're a network marketer and you're trying to build up your network marketing to a certain level, right? It all takes time, okay? It is a very easy decision for some to cut their losses and go back to the salary job. But I will say it's the people that really do push through, persevere, shift and make changes to their business that need to be changed. Understand that there may be some things that they don't enjoy doing, but now maybe they have to be doing, right? Like for my realtors, a lot of it is, you need to call more people. You need to talk to more people. You need to stretch out of your comfort zone, and you need to talk to more people to get more clients. A lot of people will shrink back to the, well, that's not as comfortable as I'd like to be. Well, the great thing about being an entrepreneur is that you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? So for some business owners, it's a matter of going and knocking on the doors of all the other businesses around them, saying, do you have somebody that caters your lunches? Right? You really need to get out there and you need to network your own business, because this is the thing, is that you're not on a salary anymore. You're the one that is earning the paycheck, and you pay everybody else first and then you get paid. So if you're not the one that's knocking on the doors, who is? Who's that person that's stepping forward? So you're going to get this moment of fight or flight. And there's this lovely analogy that I've seen many, many times online. And it's the, you think that your plan's going to go a certain way. You think that if you just stay on this road and there's the finish line and you're going to get to, wow, I've got all the money that I need for retirement, it's right there. Well, the reality is there's pitfalls. There are going to be times where you're going through some rough waters. There's going to be times where you think it's all smooth sailing and everything's going great. And then COVID hits, right? And then COVID hits. I know so many restaurant owners, COVID hit and they're like, okay, now what? And so it was now a shift of what they needed to do. And there is that choice of, maybe it's best that we just close down, or maybe we shift our way of thinking. And now we have to go more online. We really need to start doing videos. We need to start appealing to our customers in different ways so we can push all of our takeout, right? You need to understand that it's not all going to be smooth sailing from start to finish, and there are going to be dips in the road, but you really need to reassess and understand that sometimes it is going to be easy, sometimes it's not. But it's the hard parts that you go through that really make your business sustainable in the end. Okay. All right. Last one, solidify your vision. Okay. So as you're in your business, you really need to understand, where is this all going? Where do I see it going? Do I want to keep doing this for the next 5 years? And this is the thing. It's okay if you don't want to, right? This is the great thing about being an entrepreneur, is that you can shift and pivot according to what you want to do. But you really need to understand, what does the future look like for you in this business? Is this something that you want to grow into a large team? If you're an entrepreneur with a sole proprietorship, is this something where you can see a large team growing out of it? Do you want multiple locations? If you're owning a salon, do you want to expand to multiple locations? Do you want to turn it into a franchise, right? This is how McDonald's was born. It started out as like 6 restaurants, and then Ray Kroc came along, then all of a sudden it expanded into franchises all across North America. Or do you want to work really hard for 10 years and then sell your business or sell your book of business, right? You got to know where you're headed. You really got to know where you're headed, and you really got to plot out where it is that you want it to go, and how you're going to continually grow year over year. This is the thing about being in business, is that you can't just do the same thing over and over and over again and expect that it's going to stay the same, right? Like there's that analogy of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's a little different in business, in the fact that if you keep doing the exact same thing over and over again, everything else changes around you. But if you don't change with it, your business does start to go down. So you need to be on that innovation kind of side of things, where you're looking at what's happening in the market, you're looking at what's happening culturally, you're looking at what's happening in your community, and you're shifting and you're making these adjustments. So is this something that you want to continually work at, right? Or are you just wanting to cash out and then do nothing, right? And you really need to decide, what is it that you specifically want to do? Because this is the great thing about it, is that you can do whatever you like to do. If you had a salary position before, guess what? There's likely another salary position that you're going to be able to apply for. Okay. You've just now got more worldly experience because you've been an entrepreneur, right? So it's never, in my personal opinion, a bad thing for you to have chosen an entrepreneurial path. It just makes you more diversified as a potential future employee. So maybe you try doing your own thing for 10 years. You're on a 10-year lease. You run your own restaurant. You have an enjoyable time. At the end of 10 years, you decide you're going to sell your restaurant, and then you're going to go work at a salary job again, or you do a full retirement, depending on what age you are. Okay. But you really need to understand, what is your exit plan where this is all concerned. And there was one more. Oh, and I just want to say, this is another great thing, is that there is no cap as far as your own personal salary. So you get to decide, how heavy do I want to push myself and this business to where I want it to go to. Okay. So if you wanted to make $100,000, you just need to understand, what is it that I need to do to get to 100,000? If you want to get to $500,000, what do I need to do to get to this level? But you really need to understand where it is that you want to go, so you can plan appropriately and prepare your family for what's ahead. Okay. And like I said, it's better to, it's okay if you decide that it's not for you. But it's better to have tried it in the first place and then not have that regret of not having tried it at all. Okay. So if you're watching this presentation and you're like, yeah, it's a little bit more difficult than I thought it might be, then I'm glad you watched this, because I'm so fearful that so many people just think it's going to be super easy and rosy, and you get to decide when you work, when you don't work, and you get to take vacations when you want to take vacations. But the thing about being an entrepreneur is, very typically, you need to work much more than you do when you're on salary, right? When I left my salary job, I had 6 weeks vacation. Okay. And that meant when I went on vacation, my phone was off, nobody could call me, and that was it. But as soon as I became an entrepreneur, as soon as I turn off my phone, I turn away any future business that could go towards my paycheck, right? And my paycheck is what I decide to pay myself, right? So you need to understand the difference, right? Like of what is it that you want? What is it that you need? So go through all of these steps. And I honestly say, you know, it is for some people, it's not for others. You really need to know yourself and know your comfort level and know whether or not you can feel not secure knowing exactly how much money is going to be in your bank account every single month. Because there's some months when I've had 0 going in. There's other months when I've had 25,000 going in, right? It was a great month. But our months as entrepreneurs are much more they're much more roller coaster than others, okay? Okay, so that is my presentation. Once again, my name is Tara Watson, and I've got my Facebook at KW Tara. My Instagram is Ms. Tara Watson. And then LinkedIn, once again, very close, is at Tara Watson or at KW Tara Watson. So please feel free to friend me either on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, or connect with me on LinkedIn, right? They're all different. Once again, I'm a realtor, productivity coach, and elite social marketer. I'm with Modare, and we are actually going to be giving away our grand prize basket is a bunch of our healthy label cleaning products. So we've got a wide variety of products that we have. And honestly, for me, being part of that company was just a case of I really liked the community. I liked the amount of women that I was going to be working with. We support each other. We go on trips. We have a lot of fun. So it was just another business that I could do that kind of fit in that extra fun element that I was looking for. So if anybody has any direct questions for me, I'm very happy to answer them at this time. Like I said, I was a franchise development manager for a franchise company, and I came from a family business of a florist. So I've got a wealth of experience when it comes to different entrepreneur positions. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, I'm going to jump in for 2 seconds, Tara, before while people sort of gather their thoughts for any questions. One of the main things that I see in what I do is number 3, where you're talking about the plan.
Yeah.
You know, having a personal and a business financial plan is key. And the plan should not only include, you know, how much is going to come in, how much is going to go out, what are we doing in between. You also need to protect yourself, because if you work for a company and you injure yourself, there's WSIB, or there's EI, you know, what's it called again? I'm losing my train of thought. EI disability. That you can apply for, right? And it covers you. I mean, it doesn't take you forever, but it covers you. Yeah. When you're an entrepreneur, you don't have any of that. So you need to make sure that you have things like income protection. You need to make sure that if you have a bricks and mortar, I mean, I don't work on anything to do with like commercial home or auto insurance, but I always recommend these things to people who are looking at doing, you know, a bricks and mortar restaurant or you know, a salon or a shop of some sort, because when everything is peachy and rosy, you know, everybody's happy. But we saw COVID. I just spoke to somebody the other day. She's actually a realtor, and we had been talking about disability insurance, income protection in case of injury. She has fallen and she has injured herself. And, you know, I don't know the details of how long she's going to be off, but I mean, Tara can speak to being a realtor. If you're off on your feet, you can't go anywhere. You can't really, you're in pain or on medications because of pain. Right. You're not yourself. You can't necessarily make the best decisions for your clients.
Oh, no. Yeah, 100%. If I was a realtor and I was incapacitated in any way, it's now a referral, right? You're now referring out your business, which thankfully we still do get paid for in our business, right? Because we're now doing the referral for another realtor. But in the same capacity, yes, it gets very difficult. And that's just like what I said, where even if you go on vacation, right? Like you turn off your phone, you could be potentially missing out on a deal, right? So it's not the same kind of security that you have when you're in a salary job. And that's where a lot of people just choose that they don't want to do the entrepreneur thing, because there's too much fear that's involved with not having that security, knowing that I'm going to make exactly this much every single month. I know that I have 4 weeks holiday every single year, and I know that I can have 10 sick days, right? Like they need to know these very structured things, and there's a comfort there. And this is why I'm saying you really need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because there are things that come out of left field. And thankfully, there are definitely some insurances that you can get if you're in your own private business. But you need to go out and get these things. You don't have this big brother kind of thing that's kind of protecting you like you would in a salary position. Now, that being said, I also know that even though you may feel like there's security in a salary position, there's downsizing that happens as well, right? So, I mean, I also came from a family where my father was, down or outsourced, or like his position was just eliminated all of a sudden, right? A high-ranking, part of a company, and then all of a sudden he was told, "I'm sorry, that position doesn't exist any longer, and we're going to be packaging you out." Right? So at some point you really need to understand, like, will I be okay if I get packaged out even? Or do I want to take control of my own future and say, you know what, if something bad is going to happen, or if I'm not able to do something, it's because I'm choosing not to do it, not because somebody else is choosing whether or not I'm going to get it or not, right? So there's a couple of different sides to the coin on that one. I also have people that decide they're just going to go part-time in their side business and keep the salary, and they just kind of double dip for a little while, right? So they like they'll go a couple of years with just doing this thing on the side. And I have a friend that was also packaged out while she was doing her side thing. And then all of a sudden she's like, well, it's a good thing I had my side thing, because now I'm doing it full time, right? So it's not a bad idea even to just have what your idea is, your thought that you might be able to do something on your own on the side, just because it's a great plan B. And a lot of people talk about this, right? Like you got to have a plan B in place, because you never know what's going to happen with the company that you work for, right? Like at any time, the company could dissolve or get amalgamated by somebody else, and now your position is no longer needed, right? So I think that's one of the reasons that we're hearing so much about this gig economy now, right? Is because you don't have the people that are, 50 years with a company and then retiring with their pension anymore, right? You're going from company to company, or you're venturing out on your own, and you're doing it on your own because you think that you can do it better, which is the reason I became a realtor in the first place. I bought and sold 3 houses with 3 different realtors. And I thought, I think I could do this a lot better. And that was one of the reasons that I decided to do it. Because I was like, I'm watching what they're doing. I feel like I did a lot of the work on their behalf. I think that I could probably do this a lot better, right? So it was just that little seed that was planted of, could I do this better? That was all that was really needed to push me into that direction. Because I always had that kind of inkling of, this isn't where I'm supposed to be, right? And I think when people have that inkling, they also know this isn't where they're supposed to be, that there's something that is bigger and better out there for them. And sometimes you just need that little extra push, right, to get there.
Awesome. You have some comments here, Tara. Thank you very much for the valuable information. Thank you for a wonderful presentation, very informative. Great presentation. It was very helpful. Yes, very helpful. So again, we'll open it up to see if anybody has any questions for Tara. feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, and feel free to go ahead and ask Tara anything that's on your mind, or maybe a comment, maybe a success story.
Now, this is the biggest challenge, right? Like, and this is what a lot of people have challenges with is, can you unmute yourself to ask the question, or can you reach out to somebody and say, would you like to support me in my business? Right? They're both a little outside of your comfort zone. So you need to know which one you're going to move forward with, right? So it's a nice challenge to even say, are you going to unmute yourself and ask the question, right? But I'm just taking it as a compliment that I covered all of the bases, and that I left nothing unanswered.
Absolutely.
Which could be the case as well.
Oh, Jill's going to ask a question, it looks like.
Well, what I want to share is that back in the early 2000s, I went back to college for service pattern design. And in 2003, I was diagnosed with cancer. So that kind of put a kibosh on me furthering my career. And it wasn't until October of last year that I was in a women's networking group. And one of the members asked me if I could help them with an art project. And that art project has turned into a partnership. And it's the stake friends that I have in the background. And it's gone way and beyond our wildest dreams. It's totally done a total 360 of what we started out with originally. And where it's heading now is the direction that we really need to go. Perfect.
And I would honestly say that probably came from the just the research portion, right? That's why you start going into women's networking groups, is seeing that, like, is there something out there that I could be of service to, or let me check out what other people are doing as well, right? Because maybe you don't know what it is that you want to do. So joining networking groups is a fantastic idea for anybody that knows they don't want to do the salary thing anymore, but have no idea what it is that they want to do. There's so many different options that are out there. You don't have to do brick and mortar. You don't have to do any kind of clerical work, or you could just do like online sales, right? Like there's so many different options that are out there. I think the more people that you talk to and learn about their position, the better. And sometimes it'll forge, partnerships like Jill, right? Like sometimes you'll develop a friendship, or you're collectively thinking, we would probably be doing this better together if we teamed up, right? So you never know what can come from these types of things. So
yeah, I never saw it coming that way. And, it's been an interesting past 6 months since then, from where we started to where we're going. And actually, if you go to Facebook Stake Friends, we're doing a special launch for March 20th.
Perfect.
Nice. Very nice. Congratulations on that success story. The reality is, depending on what it is that you're looking into creating as your entrepreneurship venture, and Tara, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but you could be looking at anywhere from a year up to 5 years to actually see a growth in your business. Some businesses are, it might take you a year. Those are probably more product based, more, hands-on. Could be a restaurant, could be something where, people are going to be there every single day. For other types of services and those sorts of ventures, you will see that people will sit back and sort of watch to see your progress. And some, even friends will sit back and not until you're really, hitting that over the mountain stage, right? You've kind of peaked and you're kind of over. that's when they might reach out and extend a hand. So be prepared. Be prepared that sometimes even friends will take a step back and not necessarily want to get involved in supporting you, even with a like or a share on Facebook.
Right.
So it does become more of a lonely venture, and then you venture into building new relationships with people, mentors and people that are in the same industry, or
Right.
even partners.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say that, because when I talk to the new realtors that are just starting their businesses, I tell them you need to ask your family and friends if they know anyone. Don't ask them if they want to buy or sell with you, because they more than likely will say, no, I'm good, and get their back up and think, oh my God, you become a realtor just so that you can try to sell or buy me something. It's the same for almost every single industry. Even in network marketing, I've told people over and over again, if you decide to partner up with something like Modere, and then you just start knocking on your friends' doors saying, would you like to buy this? Would you like to buy that? You are going to just get like blocked so quickly. It is your business is built on strangers, right? Your business is built on forging new relationships and just simply asking your friends for the support by introducing you to these new people. And sometimes they will end up buying from you. Sometimes they'll end up selling their house through you. Sometimes they'll, recommend their company comes to eat at your restaurant. Right. But you cannot base your entire business on your friends and family, or your business will be done within the year. Like you won't get off the ground. It really is built on new relationships that you've built with strangers. Right. And that's a tough one for a lot of people to swallow.
Yeah,
honestly. And that's why you need to have that get out of your comfort zone. You really need to get out of your comfort zone, because you are going to have to talk to new people every single day, right? If you're not talking to new people every single day, your business is not growing daily, right? That's the only way you know your business is growing, is if you talk to new people every day. And you'll know the really busy restaurant owners, because you'll see them in the line at Fortino's. They're talking to people about their restaurant, right? They're talking to people about their business. Anytime they reach somebody new or talk to somebody new, they're mentioning it. And that's how they're building their business, is because they're not inhibited to talk to other people about their business, right? So you really need to shed the idea that of judgment, especially, right? You need to shed the idea that others are going to judge you for asking for their business, right? Because it's the only way you're going to grow your business. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Well, Tara, you've done a fabulous job. The information was right on point, I believe, with what was expected. It's definitely something that we can take back, and even myself as an entrepreneur with my business, I can take back and certainly meditate. And remember, there's always things that you can do to scale your business. If you're actually in a business, you can pivot, check out different trends that are happening within your industry, and that will actually lead you to grow, to just scale, really. So again, Tara, thank you for the donation. That donation of those wonderful products will be drawn at the end of the event, so Saturday. So good luck. Make sure again to keep your passport to win. Make sure that you're on our event page, the W3 Shatter It event page, because that's where we're going to be listing the winners. That's where we're listing anything, any changes. We'll be listing all the presentations as well there. And we're available. Tara's available. I'm available. Our other speakers are available. So if you have any questions, want to take it offline, definitely reach out.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you for the opportunity, Adriana. Thanks everyone that attended today.
Last thing, don't forget, challenge. I choose the challenge.
mind.
Gender and racial inequality, whatever your passion is that you're challenging, choose to challenge it and share it with others.
Wonderful.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
for sharing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.